Hello, friends. So, today we are going to talk about the concepts of interference in thin film, basically, and the basic concepts like why does a thin film occurs, or second, when you talk about thin film interference, how does the constructive or destructive is going to occur, and thirdly, we are going to talk about the conditions or the types of reflection. So, starting with the concept of thin film interference, what we can start with the concept is the thin film interference. First of all, the question arises, where do we observe this thin film? When you talk about whether we have seen oil film or whether we have seen the soap bubble, this is like our daily life example. Whether we talk about the oil film which is formed on the surface of water, or whether we talk about the soap bubble, or the colors of the feathers of the peacock, all is the concept or the examples of thin film interference. So these are like the basic daily life examples of the concepts of thin film interference. Like why does the soap bubble looks like colorful in the case of soap bubble, or when you talk about the color in oil film, or when you talk about the colors of the feathers of the peacock, this is all the result of thin film interference. Now when we talk about the basic concepts, or when you say that what do you mean by thin film interference, is that like normally if you take a substance, like if I consider a substance which is normally appears to be clear, and if I look at that substance just as usual, it looks colorless. So I'm taking a substance which is normally completely clear and colorless, but when I talk about that substance in terms of thin film, or if I consider the thin film of that particular substance, I will appear to get that colors in that particular substance. So what do I mean by this is that, like when you talk about a substance which you are looking at, it is normally going to be clear, or it is normally going to be colorless. But if you look at the same substance in terms of the thin film of the substance, so if you are looking at the thin film of the thin film of the substance is going to appear like an array of colors. So the same substance is going to behave in a different manner if I look at it normally, or if I look at that particular substance in terms of thin film. So that means when you're considering the substances in different manner or in different perspective, we are going to have the different results of it. Like for example, you said if I'm looking at the substance normally without the thin film, or if we are not considering the thin film of the substance is going to look like it is completely clear, it is colorless. But if I look at the same substance in terms of the thin film, or if I consider thin film of the substance, it appears that there is an array of color which is appearing on that particular substance. So that means if I consider the thin film of the substance, we get to see an array of colors. This is nothing but called as the thin film interference. So the array of colors which are obtained when I consider the thin film interference is due to the concept of interference considering, or interference happening in the thin film. So what you can say is, if like interference is not occurring in the thin film, the substance is going to look like clear and colorless. But if I consider the substance in a form of thin film, then the substance is going to look like, or is going to appear as, an array of colors. So I get to have an array of colors when we consider the substance in a form of thin film or in a form of very thin layer. That is what you talk about. Where do we get this arrays of color? In this thin layer is nothing but the concept related to interference which is occurring in the thin layer of the substance. That means, can we just talk about this part as, like if a substance is occurring in a normal thickness, it will appear as a clear and colorless substance. But if I look at the same substance but which is present in a form of thin layer, or if I consider a thin layer of a substance, the substance is going to appear as an array of colors. So are we obtaining arrays of colors or different colors due to the thin layer of the substance? So the question arises, why do we get the arrays of color when we consider the thin layer of the substance? The answer is obviously the interference which is occurring in the thin layer of the substance results into arrays of colors. So that is what you talk about the thin film interference. Next is obviously whenever you're studying any concept, the question arises, yeah, if this is a concept, then why it is happening? Now, why does the thin film interference occur? Like if I consider, if you look at the diagram, we have an oil film which is obviously present on the surface of the water. And if I consider different mediums over here, like you have the surface of water, on the surface of the water there is a oil spread on it, and obviously above the oil I will have the atmosphere which is present in the form of air. So if you overall look at the mediums which are present over there is air, then the oil film which is present on the water surface, and lastly we will have the water medium. So overall, when you talk about the oil spread on the water, we will have the presence of three medium. The atmosphere is going to be considered as air medium, and the oil which is present on the surface of the water is considered to be the oil medium, and below it obviously there is a presence of water, so we have water medium. So if you look at the diagram, we have presence of three mediums: air, then we have a formation of thin layer of oil on the surface of the water, and the last medium which is present is water. Now when you talk about this different mediums, obviously I'm talking about interference which is occurring in the thin layer. Now the question arises, thin layer of what? So we are talking about interference of light which is going to occur for this example in the thin layer of the oil film. So right now we are considering the thin layer of oil film which is present on the surface of the water. So that's the material which we are going to make use of for the interference. So now what you do is you take a source of light. As you can see, there are different numbers which are noted over here. When you talk about the ray of light which is indicated as 1, that 1 indicates the incident ray. The light which is getting emitted from the source travels along the path 1, and it is reaching the interface of air and the oil film. Now, if you look at the oil film, that is the thin layer of the oil film, the upper layer is going to be called as the top interface, and the bottom layer of the film, which is in contact with the water, is going to be called as bottom interface. So we have two interface present over here. The one which is present between air and the oil film, that interface is considered to be the top interface, and the one which is present between the oil film and the water, it is considered to be the bottom interface. So as I said, first of all the light travels along the path 1, and it is getting incident at the top surface of the oil film, and at the intersection, or when you say at the incidence at the top surface, there is two things happening over there. One is the light is moving along the path 2, and it is also moving along the path 3. So if the light is getting reflected in the same medium, so I can call it as the reflection being occurred. And when you talk about the path third, in that case the light is getting refracted in some other medium. So the light which is coming along the path 1 is getting divided into two parts. Some part of the light is getting reflected, that is along the path 2, and some part of the light is getting refracted, that is along the path 3. Refracted because the light is traveling from air to oil medium. Now, when you consider the third case, that is the third path of light, after the third path of light, the light is again moving into two directions, that is along 4, then along 5, and lastly, you can see one more ray, which is the sixth one. So, the third ray of light, or the light which is moving along the path 3, is undergoing three paths, which is fourth one, fifth one, and the sixth one. When you look at the fourth one, fourth is a present in the same medium. So you can say it is nothing but the reflection part. But the fourth one is again moving in the upward direction, that is in the air medium. So you get the ray of light moving in the outward, that is in the refraction part. which is occurring in the air medium. And lastly, the ray of light is again getting transferred through the water medium along the path 6. So the one ray of light which is coming along path 1 is undergoing multiple times of reflection and multiple times of refraction. So, out of all the multiple reflections and multiple refractions, we need to consider only those light which are getting reflected, and all the reflected lights which are coming out in the air medium. As you can see, this is the position of I. So all the rays of light which is coming in the outward direction, that is in the air medium, they all are considered to be the reflected light, and then we allow this reflected light to overlap with each other or superimpose with each other. Let me remind you, when I say overlapping or superpositioning, that is nothing but called as interference. So what am I allowing is, I'm allowing to overlap the or superimpose the reflected light so that interference can occur. First thing. Secondly, all the rays of light, which is like when you talk about second one, that is the second path, is directly getting reflected, but the fifth one is coming from the third path of light. So is am I getting two or more reflected light which is coming from the thin film of the oil which is present on the surface of the water, and all the reflected light which is coming from the thin film is going to overlap with each other. And once I overlap them or superimpose them together, we are going to say that the interference is occurring. And obviously, the interference is occurred due to the thin film or the light rays which are coming from the thin film is nothing but called as thin film interference. So if you look at the whole diagram, we can just say that we allow the multiple rays of light being incident on the interface. Then the incident light undergoes multiple time reflection and multiple time refraction, but we only consider those rays which are getting reflected and coming out in the air medium. We are going to allow the overlapping or the superpositioning of the reflected light which is coming from the thin film of oil which is present on the water surface. And once I allow the overlapping or superpositioning of all the reflected light coming from the thin film, that is what is called termed as thin film interference. So that will give rise to different colors or different arrays of colors, but these different arrays of colors are going to nothing but obtain depending upon whether the interference is constructive interference or whether it is a destructive interference. So just look at the diagram of the whatever we have done in the previous case. As I said, we had three mediums, that is air, soap film, and again you can have either the water medium or you can just have the soap film present on the air medium. So you will have air, soap film, and air. You can see the blue light is indicating the incident ray. That incident ray is getting divided into two parts. The green one is indicating the reflected ray, and the yellow one indicates the refracted ray. Again, this yellow one, that is the refracted ray, is undergoing two concepts. That is, this green one is the reflected ray, and again, this pink line indicates the refracted ray. And ultimately the ray of light is getting emerged in the outward direction, which is again a refracted ray. So you can say this yellow ray of light indicates either the refracted ray for this one, or for this ray is behaving as an incident ray because this pink ray of light is coming from the yellow one. So that means you can say we can have multiple reflections, we can have multiple refractions, but we allow the rays of light which are coming from thin film to overlap or superimpose, giving us either constructive interference or destructive interference. That is nothing but the thin film interference. Next is, obviously the question arises that when are we going to get constructive interference and when are we going to get destructive interference. Now obviously the question arises that how we are going to get the constructive interference due to thin film, or when we are going to get destructive interference due to thin film. So whether we are getting constructive or whether we are getting destructive interference, all the thing, like all the type of interference, whether I say constructive or destructive, they both are dependent on the thickness of the film. So depending on the thickness of the film, we can get either a constructive interference or destructive interference of the rays of light which is entering our eye. So if you look at the thickness of the two cases, like whether I talk about constructive and destructive, in the first case we have taken the example of oil film present on the surface of water. If you look in the first case, in this case one ray of light is coming in this manner and the second ray of light is moving in this direction. As you can see, light is considered to be transverse wave. If I allow these two red lights to overlap with each other, the crest is going to overlap with the crest of another, and the trough is going to overlap with the trough of another, and crest is overlapping with crest, trough is overlapping with trough. So if you're aware of this overlapping of crest with crest, trough with trough, it is considered to be the constructive interference. So obviously, am I deciding the whether the interference is constructive or destructive depending on the thickness of the film? As you can see in the second example, the thickness of the film is broader. In that case, what is happening, that the one ray which is moving along the AB, which is again getting transmitted, has BC, but this one more ray which is coming from this A to B point, as you can see, one ray which is moving along this and the second ray which are getting overlapped together in this particular section, they are overlapping in such a manner that I have one wave like this and the second wave is overlapping in this manner. So if the overlapping is occurring in this manner, we can say the crest of one wave overlaps with the trough of another wave, or you can see the trough of another wave overlaps with the crest of another wave. This means what? That whenever we talk about the crest overlapping with the trough or the trough overlapping with the crest of another wave, this results into destructive interference. And just let me remind you that during the constructive interference, I will have the intensity of light to be more, and during the destructive interference, the intensity of light is minimum or it can even be considered as zero. So when you talk about this constructive and destructive interference in terms of thin film, depending upon the thickness of the film, I will either get to see a constructive interference or I will either get to see a destructive interference. So the thickness of the film decides whether we are going to get a constructive or a destructive interference. Now, obviously, if I consider the light which is traveling through a vacuum, and after vacuum, I allow that light to pass through medium, the speed of light is going to decrease because initially the light was traveling through vacuum and then I am allowing that light to travel through medium. So, am I changing the medium from vacuum to some other new medium? So, whenever I change from vacuum to new medium, the speed of light is obviously going to decrease. And if you are aware of the relation of speed of light with wavelength, we are aware of the formula C is equal to nu lambda. C indicates the speed, nu indicates the frequency, and the lambda indicates the wavelength. As you can see, speed and wavelength, they are directly proportional to each other. So if I say speed is getting decreased if I am moving from vacuum to new medium, obviously, we can say the wavelength is also going to decrease if I am moving from vacuum to a new medium. So if I change from vacuum to new medium, the speed decreases, wavelength decreases. That is what we talk about. The speed is going to change the wavelength of the wave if we are moving from vacuum to a new medium. That means, initially, suppose I tell you that the light is traveling through a vacuum through a certain speed c, and the wavelength is the original wavelength has lambda, but as the light moves from vacuum to new medium, the speed decreases, and as soon as the speed decreases, the wavelength is also going to decrease. So we can write the wavelength of light in the new medium as the lambda new medium is equal to original wavelength, that is which is calculated in vacuum, divided by the index of refraction. When you say index of refraction means what? As you move from vacuum to a new medium, the medium has a certain refractive index. That refractive index is supposed to be divided by the original wavelength to get the new refractive index. So, when you talk about the speed of light, it's getting decreased when you're moving from vacuum to new medium. Even the wavelength is getting decreased from vacuum to new medium. So, when you say lambda original is getting divided by the refractive index, that gives us the value of the wavelength in the new medium. So, by how much is the wavelength getting decreased, and what is the relation between the wavelength in new medium as compared to the wavelength which is in the vacuum? The relation is given by the lambda in the new medium is equal to the original wavelength, that is the wavelength of light in vacuum, divided by n. N is nothing but the refractive index of new medium in which the light is traveling from vacuum. So this is how you calculate the wavelength of light when it is moving from vacuum to a new medium. Next is the things which we are going to consider when you talk about thin film interference. There are two types of reflections which are considered in thin film interference. One is called as hard reflection and the other one is called as soft reflection. So there are two types of reflections which are going to occur when you talk about thin film interference. Now, when I say hard reflection or when I say soft reflection, what is the difference between hard reflection and soft reflection? Let's look at that part. Like suppose if I consider a medium which has higher refractive index, and in the second part, I consider a medium which is having a lower refractive index. So, the medium which is having higher refractive index is the first part, and the medium which is having the lower refractive index is the second part. As you can see, this is your incident ray, which is getting incident on the medium which is having higher refractive index, and obviously the medium is reflecting that incident ray, and once the ray is getting reflected, the phase of the reflected ray is changing by lambda by 2. That means the reflected ray undergoes the phase shift of lambda by 2 when it is getting reflected from a medium having higher refractive index. But if you look at the second part, that is again this ray of light is considered to be the incident ray. This incident ray is allowed to fall on a medium which is having a lower refractive index. Again, I'm getting the reflection of light, but the ray of light which is getting reflected from the medium having a lower refractive index observes the phase shift of 0. That means I can either get a phase shift of lambda by 2 or either I can get a phase shift of 0 depending upon whether I'm getting the reflection from a medium having higher refractive index or I'm getting reflection from a medium having lower refractive index. So if I get reflection from higher refractive index, the phase shift is of lambda by 2, and if I get the reflected ray of light getting reflected from the medium having lower refractive index, then we get the phase shift of 0. So out of this two, which one is considered as hard reflection, which one is considered as soft reflection? The reflected ray which experiences the phase shift of lambda by 2, first thing. Secondly, why it is experiencing the phase shift of lambda by 2? Because it is getting reflected from medium having higher refractive index. That type of reflected light is called as, or that type of reflection is called as hard reflection. So if you want to talk about hard reflection, the concept is or the criterias are, for hard reflection the reflected light should suffer phase shift of lambda by 2. And when is that phase shift going to occur? Is when the reflected light is getting reflected from a medium having higher refractive index. But when you come to the second part, if the reflected light is getting reflected from the medium having lower refractive index, the phase shift is 0, and that type of reflection is called as soft reflection. So when you talk about the thin film interference, we only consider two types of reflection. One is the hard reflection and the other one is soft reflection. So these are the respective criteria for the hard reflection and the soft reflection. Now, I said we have two types of reflection giving me the hard reflection or the soft reflection. Now, to get thin film interference, and in thin film interference, we want the two interference, either the constructive or destructive. So, if we want to get a constructive interference in thin film, there should be certain conditions for the reflection, and if we want destructive interference in thin film, there should be a certain conditions for reflection. So to obtain constructive interference in thin film interference, or to obtain destructive interference in thin film, we require certain conditions for the reflection, that is what should occur or which type of reflection should occur, so that which can give me constructive, and which type of reflection will give me destructive interference. Now when you talk about constructive interference, like if I considered two light waves and both the light waves are undergoing same type of reflection. What do I mean by same type of reflection is that two light waves undergoing same type of reflection means that either both of them are undergoing hard reflection or either both of them are undergoing soft reflection. If that criteria is getting satisfied, that is two light wave considered are undergoing either hard reflection or both of them are showing us soft reflection, in that case same type of reflection, either both hard or both soft, will give us the constructive interference, and the criteria for constructive interference is given by the formula 2t is equal to m lambda n. Now, obviously, this is the condition when both the light waves are undergoing either hard reflection or both of the rays are undergoing soft reflection. In this case, the formula will be 2t is equal to m lambda n. T indicates the thickness of the film or the thickness of the thin film which is being used for the interference, and m indicates as any whole number, and lambda n indicates the wavelength of the light in the new medium. Now, the second part, if you want again constructive interference, so there is a second criteria also, that you can have different type of reflection. Means if I want again a constructive interference, we can have different type of reflection of two light waves. So if I consider two light waves and if they're undergoing different type of reflection, what do you mean by different type of reflection is that one ray of light undergoes hard reflection and the other ray of light undergoes soft reflection. This is mean to say different type of reflection. So if we have different type of reflection, again we are going to get a constructive interference, which is given by the condition 2t is equal to m plus half lambda n. Again, t has the same significance, that is the thickness of the thin film. M indicates the whole number and lambda n indicates the wavelength of light in new medium. So if you want to get constructive interference in thin film, there are two criteria: either the two light waves undergoing the same type of reflection, or the second condition is the two light waves undergoing different types of reflection, satisfying the two conditions 2t is equal to m lambda n, or the second condition as 2t is equal to m plus half lambda n. Now, as we have talked about the two conditions for constructive, we can even talk about the two conditions for destructive interference. Which are the two conditions for destructive interference is that, like if I consider two light waves which are undergoing hard reflections, both of them are undergoing hard reflection. But if I look at the hard reflection, if they are even number of hard reflections, so it is going to result into the formula, that is 2t is equal to m plus half lambda n. Again, t indicates the thickness of the thin film, m is the whole number, lambda n indicates the wavelength of light in the new medium. So if there are even number of hard reflections, it is going to result into destructive interference. Or the second criteria for destructive interference is that if there are odd number of hard reflections, but the mathematical condition will be different. If there is an occurrence of odd number of hard reflections, then the mathematical condition which is considered is 2t is equal to m lambda n, having the same notations as before, that is t is the thickness of the thin film, m is the whole number, lambda n indicates the wavelength in the new medium. So for destructive interference, there are two conditions. One is even number of hard reflections, having the mathematical condition has the above equation, that is equation 1. And the second criteria is that if there are odd number of hard reflections, that is going to give us the second mathematical criteria for again destructive interference. So we did two criteria for the constructive interference, two criteria for the destructive interference, but obviously you should be aware of the different criteria and which type of equation should be used for different criteria for getting either constructive or destructive. And second thing, you have to remember one thing, that whenever there is an occurrence of even number of hard reflection, the end result or the end result of the wave which we get has the phase shift of lambda by 2 for hard reflections having even numbers. But for the second criteria, if I have odd numbers of hard reflection, in that case, throughout the resultant wave, the phase shift is going to be same, that is lambda by 2. That is, we can conclude that for even number of hard reflections, the end result is going to have the phase shift of lambda by 2. But for odd number of hard reflections, throughout the wave, the phase shift will remain lambda by 2, not only for the end one. So throughout the wave, for odd number of hard reflection, throughout the wave, the phase shift is going to be lambda by 2. So this is what we have talked about, the different concepts of thin film interference, like why does thin film interference occur, what are the types of reflections we are going to consider, or what are the constructive interference and the destructive interference dependent on for occurrence of thin film. And lastly, we talked about the criterias which are going to satisfy for the constructive interference and the destructive interference which is occurring in the thin film interference. In the next topic, obviously, we are going to cover about different concepts of thin film. We are going to derive certain mathematical formulas for this video. This is the part we are going to complete. Thank you so much.